In this Blender tutorial, I'll show you how to create this Procedural Sun Material. If you'd like to purchase this procedural material, you can get it with the links in the description on my Gumroad store and my Patreon page. So after we create the Procedural Sun Material, I'll be showing you how to join together into this node group so you can customize the look of the material. So we have this scale value, so this will change the size of the entire texture. Then we have this animate noise value. So I've animated this noise value, so if I hit the spacebar to play, you can see I can create this cool animation, and the animate noise value just kind of moves around the noise and makes it look a bit random. Then we also have the sun brightness and the sun contrast. So for example, I could turn the brightness down and maybe turn the contrast up, or I could also turn the contrast way down and then turn the brightness way up. You can see there's definitely more contrast on the edges. Then we have the different colors, so I have color 1 and color 2, so I have it as a red color and kind of an orangey color. Then we have the layer weight, and so this is going to make kind of that center part a little bit brighter, and then you can see on the edges the color is a little bit different. Then we have some noise settings like the noise scale 1 and noise scale 2, and then we have the detail levels of the noise, so if you want to turn the detail down you can, and then we have the noise roughness values, and then finally we have the displacement strength to pop out the mesh, because you can see on the edges here the mesh is just a little bit bumpy. So if you'd like to purchase this procedural material, you can get it with the links in the description. And you can also check out my Ultimate Blender Procedural Material Pack if you'd like to purchase a material pack with all of my materials. Now I've also just released my Procedural Planet Material Pack, which comes with all of these procedural planet materials, like some asteroid materials, a rocky planet, a desert planet, Mars and Saturn, and some more planets. So if you're interested in purchasing that material pack, I'll have the links to it in the description. And you can also check out my procedural material tutorial playlist to learn how to create more materials. So before we start creating the material, I'll show you what I have set up in the 3D viewport. So I went to the add menu, I went to mesh, and I added an icosphere. And then right behind me on the add icosphere settings, I turned the subdivisions up to 6, and then I shaded the object smooth so it's nice and round. Then I scaled the sphere down by 0.2 and then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. And then over here on the modifiers, I'll click on add modifier and I'm going to add the subdivision surface modifier. You can see it's taking a moment to load up because the object is already pretty detailed, but I do want a lot of subdivisions so the object is really detailed so that the displacements have more geometry to work with. And I'm going to set the viewport levels and render levels both up to 2 so it's pretty detailed. Then I also added a camera and I'm just going to point the camera at the object. And if you select the camera and click over here to go to the object data properties, I'm going to turn the focal length up to 80 just to kind of zoom the camera in a bit. So I'm in the shading workspace, so I have the 3D viewport right over here, and I'll go into the rendered viewport mode, and then I have the shader editor right over here. So before I create the material, what I'm going to do is go here to the world properties, and you can just add a new world if you don't already have one. And then if you click here on object in the shader editor, you can change it to world instead. We can now edit the world nodes. So I'm just going to make a very basic stars background. So I'm going to search for the procedural Voronoi texture, and then if you don't have the Node Wrangler enabled, click on edit, go to the preferences, and on the add-ons tab just search for Node Wrangler and just enable the Node Wrangler add-on. So with the Node Wrangler enabled, you can select the texture and you can hit Ctrl T, and that's going to add the texture coordinate mapping, and I'm going to plug the object into the vector, and then we can take the Voronoi distance and put that into the color of the background. So if I kind of zoom out here, you can kind of see that Voronoi texture in the background, and then what I want to do is make it more contrasted, so I'm going to search for a color ramp and put it between the Voronoi and the background. And I can now drag these two tabs together, and I actually want to flip them so the white tab's over here, and then I can just make the black tab way over here so it's really small. And then what I want to do is turn this scale up, so maybe I'll turn this up to like 150, something like that. So if I go into the camera view and then just kind of zoom in here into the edge there, you can definitely see some little stars there. And then let's also turn the strength here up to like a 4, so the stars are a bit brighter. So let's click on the world settings and we're going to go back to the object settings, and then we'll select our sphere. Let's click on new to add a new material, and I'll just call this sun. And also one more thing I forgot to do over here on the render properties is let's scroll down here to the very bottom and go to the color management, and I'm going to be using the view transform of Filmic, and I'll change the look to high contrast. So to create this material, we're first going to search for a noise texture. I will drop it here, and with the noise texture selected, I'll hit Ctrl T to add the texture coordinate mapping, and we want to use the object coordinates, so we'll put the object into the vector, and the object coordinates are going to place the texture on the object more evenly. And then let's Ctrl Shift select the noise texture, preview it to see the settings, and we can change the settings here. So on the 3D, I'm going to change this to 4D instead. This is going to give us this W value, and so we can animate this value later once the material is finished to kind of of make the noise kind of move around randomly. And then let's change the scale to 100, and I'll turn the detail up to 10. And then I can leave the other settings how they are. So I'm now going to go to the add menu and search for another noise texture. Let's put the vector into the vector, and I'll preview the noise texture. Now in earlier versions of Blender, there was a texture called the Musgrave texture, but the Musgrave texture was removed because the noise texture can get the same effect as the Musgrave. So we're going to create a texture which is very similar to the old Musgrave. So I'm going to turn off the normalize, and then I'm going to turn the scale up to like a 50. And then let's turn the detail to a 10, so it's really detailed. And then I'll turn this roughness all the way up to 1. So now what I want to do is mix these two noise textures together so we have a really detailed texture. So I'm going to search for a mix color, and we want to put the factor of the bottom one into color B, and then we want to take the factor of the top one and we'll put that into color A. And then here on the factor, I can blend between only using one or only using the other. I'm going to turn the factor to a 0.9. So it's mostly using the bottom one, but it's just using a little bit of the top one. Now I like to keep my nodes nicely organized, so I'm going to box select both of these nodes here. I'll hit Ctrl J to add a frame. Let's also box select these nodes, and I'll hit Ctrl J to add a frame. And if you select the frame, you can press F2 to give it a label, so I can type noise and hit enter. And then if I select this frame, I'll hit F2, and I can call this mapping and hit enter, just to keep things really organized. So now what I want to do is create the base colors. So what I'm going to do is search for a color ramp, drop this here, and let's drag these nodes back, and I want to take the mix result and I'll put that into the factor, and then I can Ctrl Shift select the color ramp to preview it. Now what I'm first going to do is make it more contrasted by dragging the black tab way over, so something like that. Then to create the custom colors, I can search for the mix color. We'll put it here after the color ramp, and we want the color to be going into the factor. So now the black and white values of the color ramp are going to determine what part is going to be color A and what part is going to be color B. So for color A, I'll make this a bright red color, and here's the hex value if you want to punch in the same color. And then here on color B, this is kind of a orangey yellowish color, and again here is the hex value that I'm using. Now the principled shader, we don't actually want this, so I'm going to hit X to delete it, and we're going to search for an emission shader instead. We'll drop this here and we'll put the emission into the surface. So now the object is emitting light, and then we can take the mix result and we can put that into the color, so that's going to be the color of the sun. We can box select these nodes, hit Ctrl J to add them into a frame, and if I select the frame and press F2 to add a label, I'll just call this color. So I now want to create another group of textures, which is going to be the emission, and we're going to plug that into the emission strength so that some parts are brighter and other parts are less bright. So to do this, we're going to search for the layer weight node, and I'll Control Shift select it to preview it. So you can see the layer weight is darker here, but then it's brighter on the outside. And I'm going to turn the blend value to a 0.4, so it's a little bit darker. Now what I want to do is I want to search for the map range node. We'll drop the map range right here, and we're going to use this just to make it a bit more contrasted. So I'm going to turn the from minimum value to a 0.2. I'll leave the from max to 1, the to min to 0, but then the to max, I'm going to turn this to -10. And then we also need to click on this clamping button to turn off the clamping, and now you can kind of see what it's looking like. So it's black right in here, but then the other part of it is a nice bright white color. So it's just a tiny bit black on the edges, and there's kind of a fading. So now what I want to do is search for another color ramp to control the colors. Let's drop this down here, and what we're going to do is take this mix, which has the textures, we're going to put that into this color ramp, so now I can preview the color ramp. And again, I want to make it more contrasted, so I'm going to drag the black tab to about in the middle, so you can kind of see the texture we're getting. So now I want to mix both of these textures together. So to do this, we're going to search for another mix color. So at the mix color node, and we're going to put this color ramp color into color A, and then we're going to take the map range result, and we're going to put that into the factor. Then we're going to take color B, and we're going to make this fully black. And I'll Control Shift select the mix to preview it. Now you can see it kind of looks black in here, but then the edges kind of have that detailed texture. Now I do want to make this color ramp brighter, so what I'm going to do is search for the math node. And we'll drop the math node here after the color ramp. And I'm going to turn the value to 1, so the entire thing is just a bit brighter. We'll also use this later in the custom node group to control the brightness. So then after this mix, I also want to add another math node. So we're going to duplicate this math node and drop it here after the mix. And I'll Control Shift select the emission to preview it. And we can take the add value and we can put that into the emission strength. So now some parts are going to have more brightness and other parts will have less brightness. And we can also add this later into the custom node group to control the brightness. So let's box select these nodes. I'll hit Control J and then F2 to give it a label. And I'll just call that emission. And then one more thing that I want to do is take this mix here and I'm going to turn off the clamp factor. So that is going to add more contrast. It'll add more values higher than 1 and lower than 0. Because basically if the factor is clamped, the darkest values are going to be 0 and the lightest values are going to be 1. But I don't want to clamp the values. The same thing is true for these clamping values. I don't want to clamp the value because I want to be able to make the values brighter than 1. So that way it'll really be blown out and look like a very bright sun. So I'm going to turn that clamp factor off. So now to make this really look more interesting, we're going to add some displacement, and then we're also going to add a glare in the compositor to make it glowing. So first let's make the displacement. So what I'm going to do is box select all of these textures here. So the two noise textures and the mix here, and I'll press Ctrl-Shift-D. So Ctrl-Shift-D will duplicate the nodes but keep the wires plugged up. Now why I'm duplicating these same exact textures, instead of just using these textures, I'm duplicating them because when I use the animate value, this value here to animate the noise kind of being random, I don't want that to affect the displacement, because if it affects the displacement, then the edges look all bumpy and glitchy and I just don't like how it looks. So I'm duplicating this setup, and we're going to use this here, these duplicated textures, to make the displacement. So let's add a displacement node. We'll drop this here, and we can put it here inside the frame. I can also select the frame and give it a label, and I can just call it displace. So we can now take the mix result and we can put that into the height value, and then the displacement can go into the displacement of the material output. So it's not actually popping out the mesh. That's because I need to open up the side panel and I need to go to the material settings, and I want to go here to the settings and the surface. And on bump only, I need to change this to displacement and bump so that the material can actually use the displacements. So now you can see it's popping out really big. It kind of looks like a big like abstract explosion or something. What I want to do is take the scale and turn it way down to like a 0.02, so it's much more subtle. So if I zoom in here to the edges, you can see it's a lot more subtle. But I also want to control the colors even more. So I'm going to search for a color ramp, and I'll put the color ramp in between the mix and the displace. So if I take the black tab and turn it up, you can see it's going to kind of pop that out. But then if I take the white tab and kind of turn that down, it's going to bring everything in. So you can see if these are very close to the same exact color, the displacement is going to look a lot more flat. So these are the values that I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go with kind of like a light gray color, and you can punch in the same hex value. It's 9F, 9F, 9F. And then here on the lighter color here, this is going to be a slightly lighter gray, and this is going to be E4, 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 the hex value. So if I zoom into the edges, you can see it just looks a little bit bumpy. So now the last thing I'm going to do to make this look really interesting, make it look more like a sun, is to add a glare. So you can click over here to go to the compositing workspace. You can click on use nodes to use the compositing nodes. And what I've done is I've split the window. So if you want to split the window, you can click here and then drag over, click in the corner and drag over. And then if you click here to change the editor type, I'll change it to the 3D viewport. And I'm going to go into the rendered viewport mode. And then if I scroll right over here and click on the shading options, make sure you're in the rendered view, and then I'm going to turn the compositor to always. So it'll show the compositing in the viewport. So now what I can do is Control Shift select the render layers, and that's going to add a viewer. And then let's also search for the glare node, and I'll stick it right here, and we want the composite and viewer to both be going up to the glare. So on the streaks, I'm going to change this to bloom instead. And then I'm going to turn the threshold up. So I'll turn the threshold to like a 1.3, so it's a bit smaller. And then I also want to take the medium and turn the quality up to high. And then what I'm also going to do is turn the size down to like a 6. So it's quite a bit smaller. But I can see we have a really cool sun material, and we get that really cool glowing effect. And there's a lot of detail on the surface. So let's go back here to the shading. So that is it for the procedural material. Let's just scroll right over here, click on the drop down again, and the compositor will turn to always. So let's now join together into a custom node group. So I'm going to click and drag to box select all the nodes except the material output, and I'll press Ctrl G to join together into a node group. And I'll hit the tab key to go outside the node group, and I'll drag the node group right up here, and then I can just call the node group sun. So let's go back into the node group, and I'll hit the N key to open up the side panel. So let's go over to the left side, and over here we have the group input, so we can plug up all the custom values to the group input. So the first one that I want to control is the overall scale over the entire material. Now the mapping scale here, this is plugged up to all the textures, so this scale value is going to control the size of the entire material. So let's put the scale into the extra socket here, and then right here on the side panel you can see it's called scale. Now if I go outside the node group, you can see it's going to be 3 values, but I just want one value to control the scale. So if I go back into the node group, let's click on the vector type here, and we're going to change it to float instead, and then we want to turn the default value to 1, and then if we go outside the node group, we want to turn the scale back to 1. So now that's going to control the size of all the textures. So let's go back into the node group. Now I want to add the animated value, so this noise texture has the W value, so we'll put the W here into the extra socket. Let's double click on this to to rename it, and I'll just call this Animate Noise. Then I want to control the sun brightness, so let's drag the node group over here, and this first add here after the color ramp, the value can go into the extra socket, and I'll just call that sun brightness. And then I want to control the contrast. So we have this other math node here set to add. And so this is going to control the contrast. So I'll put the value into the extra socket and I'll just call that sun contrast. Then I want to control the custom colors. So I'm going to drag the node group right up here and I can take color A and color B and put those into the extra sockets. And then I'll rename this to color 1 and color 2. Then I want to control the layer weight. So let's take the layer weight blend value here, put that into the extra socket, and I'll double click on this to rename it, and I'll just call it layer weight. Then I want to control the scale of the noise textures. So let's take this first scale, put that into the extra socket, and then the second scale, put that into the extra socket. And I'll call this one noise scale 1, and then the second one noise scale 2. Then I want to control the detail values of the noise. So let's take this detail value, put that into the extra socket, and this detail value, put that into the same exact socket because they're both set to a value of 10. So now I can double click on this to rename it and just call it noise detail. And if you wanted to, you could also put these detail values into those sockets, but I'm not going to do that, but you certainly could if you want to. And then I want to control the roughness values, so I'll put this roughness into the extra socket and this roughness into the extra socket, and then I'll just rename these. So noise roughness 1 and noise roughness 2. And then I want to control the displacement strength, so let's drag the group input down here, and I can put the displacement scale into the extra socket, and then this one I can rename to displacement strength. I'll drag the node group right up here. Let's hit the N key to close the side panel, and I'll hit Tab to go outside the node group. So we have the scale value to change the size of the entire material and all the textures. Then we have this animate noise value. So you can see if I just animate this, you can see the noise is just moving a little bit. Now you don't need to animate this noise value very much. If you are animating a 250 frame animation, which is 10 seconds and 24 frames per second, I find that this animate noise value only needs to be turned up to a 0.1. And that's a pretty good speed, at least for the animation that I did. Then we have the sun brightness, so I can make this really bright, kind of blow it out. And then I also have the sun contrast, so you can play around with the brightness and contrast to kind of change the look of the sun. And then we have the different colors, so colors 1 and 2, you could make this like a cool blue sun if you want to, that's kind of cool. And then we have the layer weight, so I can just change the layer weight to change the look of the material. We also have some noise settings like the noise scale 1 and 2. Then we have the detail values of the noise, and then we have the noise roughness values, and then finally we have the displacement strength to pop out the mesh. So that's going to be it for this video, so I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. And you can also purchase this procedural material on my Gumroad store and my Patreon page, links are in the description. Now I've also just released my procedural planet material pack, which comes with all of these different planet materials, so if you're interested in purchasing, I'll have the links in the description. You can also check out my Ultimate Blender Procedural Material Pack to purchase all of my materials, and to learn how to create more procedural materials, you can check out my Blender Procedural Material Tutorial playlist here on YouTube. So I hope you found this helpful, and thank you for watching.